Thor and Hulk have clashed countless times across comics and movies. But here's the question that fans still argue about. Who truly wins when both reach their absolute peak? Today, we're not talking about regular Thor or your standard Hulk. We're talking about Rune King Thor, Cosmic King Thor, Worldbreaker Hulk, and even the Immortal Hulk. Versions so powerful they shatter planets and bend reality itself. In this video, we're breaking down their powers, their strongest feats, and finally answering the ultimate Marvel debate. Who is the strongest, Thor or Hulk? When we think of Thor, most people picture the hammer-wielding Avenger from the MCU. Powerful, yes, but nowhere near the peak of what Marvel's God of Thunder has achieved in the comics. Because Thor has ascended to form so powerful, they almost feel mythic, even by comic book standards. First there's Rune King Thor, arguably his most legendary form. After sacrificing both his eyes and hanging himself on Yggdrasil, the World Tree, Thor unlocked the ancient runes of power and wisdom that even Odin feared to grasp. In this state, Thor was no longer bound by the limits of Asgardian magic. He could manipulate reality, control cosmic forces, and was said to wield power that rivaled the very gods of creation themselves. With rune magic flowing through him, Thor didn't just become stronger, he became something entirely beyond mortal comprehension. But if Rune King Thor wasn't enough, Marvel introduced Cosmic King Thor, an even more staggering transformation. In this form, Thor inherits the full cosmic power of All-Father Odin, and even bonds with the power cosmic itself, the same force that empowers Galactus and the Silver Surfer. Imagine Thor with godlike magic and cosmic omnipotence. In this state, Thor isn't just fighting enemies, he's capable of reshaping worlds, tearing through galactic threats, and commanding forces on a universal scale. So when we talk about Thor at his strongest, we're not talking about the hero who fought Thanos in Wakanda. We're talking about a being who has transcended the boundaries of godhood itself. A Thor who could go toe-to-toe with the most dangerous entities in the Marvel multiverse. The strongest versions of Hulk. When it comes to raw power, Hulk has always been Marvel's wild card. His strength grows with his rage, and that simple truth has made him one of the most terrifying forces in all of comics. But like Thor, Hulk has gone far beyond his usual green-skinned self. At his strongest, he is a force of nature that even gods fear to face. One of the most famous is Worldbreaker Hulk. This version appeared after Hulk was exiled to the planet Sakaar, where he found peace, love, and even fatherhood, until it was all ripped away by betrayal. Consumed by grief and rage, Hulk returned to Earth in World War Hulk and unleashed devastation on a scale the Avengers couldn't contain. His strength was so great that every step he took shattered the ground beneath him. It wasn't hyperbole, Hulk was literally breaking tectonic plates with his presence. This wasn't just Hulk angry, this was Hulk apocalyptic. And then there's Immortal Hulk, perhaps the scariest version of all. This Hulk isn't just strong, he's unkillable. Every time Bruce Banner dies, Hulk resurrects from the shadows of night, making him functionally immortal. But with this immortality comes something darker, a Hulk driven by rage against humanity itself, wielding near limitless strength and a terrifying intellect. Immortal Hulk isn't just a monster, he's a living embodiment of fear, unstoppable and eternal. But perhaps the most broken version of Hulk is the Breaker of Worlds, a cosmic Hulk so powerful that even the gods could not withstand him. This incarnation absorbed nearly endless gamma energy, reaching a point where he could battle entire pantheons and win. In this form, Hulk isn't fighting Thor, Galactus, or the Avengers. He's fighting the concept of existence itself. So when we ask, who is the strongest Hulk? The truth is chilling, because with Hulk there is no ceiling. His rage has no limit, and his power has no end. The ultimate showdown, strongest Thor versus strongest Hulk. And now, the question that has haunted Marvel fans for decades. If the strongest versions of Thor and Hulk clashed, who would stand victorious? To answer that, we have to imagine a battlefield worthy of gods and monsters. Picture it, Thor in his Rune King form, glowing with Odin force and runic power, standing tall against a roaring Worldbreaker Hulk, whose footsteps alone split the earth beneath him. The skies thunder, the ground shakes, and the universe itself seems to hold its breath. Thor strikes first, channeling storms so powerful they tear through dimensions, his runic magic unraveling Hulk's gamma energy at its core. For a moment, it looks like Thor's mastery of godhood might be enough to keep Hulk at bay. But then, Hulk's rage rises. With every blow he takes, his strength multiplies. The ground crumbles, shockwaves ripple across continents, and soon Thor isn't fighting a man. He's fighting a living apocalypse. But here's where it gets complicated. Thor has control. Hulk has limitless growth. Rune King Thor can erase beings from existence itself, wielding knowledge beyond gods. Yet Hulk, especially in his immortal or breaker of worlds forms, simply doesn't stay down. He regenerates, he evolves, he gets angrier. So who wins? If Thor strikes with the precision of rune magic, he could outwit and overwhelm Hulk before his strength reaches cosmic levels. But if the fight drags on, Hulk's infinite rage may eventually overpower even a god who has touched the roots of the universe. And that's the terrifying beauty of this battle. It's not just strength versus strength, it's control versus chaos, knowledge versus fury, godhood versus pure survival instinct. And in the end, the winner may not be the strongest, but the one who refuses to fall. What the comics and Marvel say about Thor versus Hulk. Now that we've imagined the clash of their strongest forms, let's step back into Marvel's own history, because Thor and Hulk have gone head-to-head many times, and each encounter has left fans debating the outcome. Their very first showdown dates back to Journey into mystery number 112, 1965, when Stan Lee himself put the question on the table, who is stronger, Thor or Hulk? In that issue, Thor actually asks Odin to take away his hammer for 5 minutes, so he can face Hulk on equal terms. The battle rages, but in true Marvel fashion, it ends without a definitive victor. Neither falls. The rivalry is born. Since then, we've seen countless clashes across decades. Sometimes Thor comes out on top, when Mjolnir's godly power was enough to put Hulk down. Other times, Hulk dominates, especially in World War Hulk 2007, where he tore through nearly every hero on Earth, and Thor wasn't even there to stop him, which many fans argue was deliberate, because Thor's presence might have been the only true counter. Even in the MCU, Marvel has leaned into the rivalry. Think of Thor, Ragnarok, when the two fought in the Grandmaster's arena. Sure, Hulk landed brutal blows, but as soon as Thor tapped into his true lightning power, the tide shifted fast. Once again, the fight was cut short before we could get an answer. And that's the pattern. Every time Marvel stages this battle, they build it up, make it legendary, and then refuse to crown a permanent winner. Why? Because Thor vs Hulk isn't just about strength. It's about what happens when the unstoppable meets the immovable. It's about keeping the debate alive, fueling decades of fan passion. So while the comics show us glimpses of victory on both sides, Marvel itself seems to say, the true winner isn't Hulk or Thor, it's the myth of the rivalry itself. So who would really win? Now we arrive at the question that has burned for decades. If the strongest Hulk and the strongest Thor ever faced each other in 2025, who would actually win? On paper, Hulk's strength is infinite. His power comes from raw emotion, from rage without ceiling. The madder he gets, the stronger he becomes, which means in theory, Hulk could overpower any opponent given enough time. That's terrifying. He is destruction incarnate. But Thor is not just a warrior, he's a god. His power doesn't come from emotion, but from heritage, divinity, and cosmic forces older than time. By 2025 standards, especially if we're considering Thor at his peak forms, like Rune King Thor or All-Father Thor, We're talking about a being who can rewrite reality itself, channel infinite energy, and wield power on a scale even Hulk might not be able to match. So what happens when they collide? The strongest Hulk versus the strongest Thor? Here's the truth. If the fight is measured in pure physical strength, Hulk has the edge. His limitless rage makes him the ultimate engine of destruction. But if we're talking about the broader spectrum of power, magic, godhood, cosmic awareness, mastery of the elements, Thor pulls ahead. In other words, Hulk may be stronger, but Thor is greater. And yet, maybe that's the point. Maybe this battle was never about crowning a final winner. Maybe it's about two forces of nature, one born of rage, the other of godhood, forever locked in a rivalry that no battlefield can contain. Because in the end, the strongest Thor versus the strongest Hulk isn't just a fight, it's a story, a myth. And in that myth, both of them win, because neither can ever truly be defeated. And that, my friends, is the eternal clash of gods and monsters. Let me know your verdict in the comments below, because this debate has no single answer, only endless battles in the imagination. Now, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but if you enjoyed this journey into Marvel's greatest rivalry, don't forget to smash that like button, like Hulk himself, summon your hammer to subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next showdown. Until then, remember, legends never end. They only evolve.